All right, so who you just heard play, let's give it up for Sonia. Let's give it up for Kama. Let's give it up for Davion. Kason was ripping. Ivan did an amazing job. Amir just killed it on drums. Symphony, have you played a show before? You just jumped up and killed it. Major shout out. And Skyla and Elohim, major shout out. Let's go. So my name is Matthew Kerr. I'm the co-executive director of Beyond the Bars. Want to introduce, thank you all so much for being here. I want to introduce some amazing VIPs that we have here today. Thank you so much, Representative Amin Brown, for being here. Delegation Chair Morgan Cephas, Representative Danilo Burgos, Representative Joe Hohenstein, Representative Derisha Parker, and Councilmember Jamie Gaudier. Thank you so much. Also, of course, want to introduce Governor Shapiro. Thank you so much for coming out to visit today. We really, really appreciate you coming into our home. And thank you so much for visiting the amazing space that we're in, which is the Community Education Center, which is a historic and incredible art space that has been a hub in Powelton Village in West Philadelphia for the last 50 years. Thank you so much to Ms. Terry Shockley for hosting us constantly and what she does in our community. All right, thank you so much. All right. Hello, my name is Matthew Kerr, and I'm the co-executive director and co-founder of Beyond the Bars, a student-driven and community-based music and resource connection nonprofit dedicated to interrupting the cycles of violence and divestment in Philadelphia while empowering the next generation of leaders. In 2021, there were 562 homicides in Philadelphia, marking it the deadliest year in our city's history. While our city reeled from the collective trauma, there was a consistent question of how we could stop the violence, with many thinking that it was impossible. The question of what causes violence in our community, however, is not some mystery that can't be known. I learned some of those causes 10 years ago when I co-founded Beyond the Bars as a music program at the time for youth who were incarcerated. We began in a jail cell where we taught music to youth who were being tried as adults for charges that were often violent. In running our volunteer-based music program at the time, we saw our young people grow and thrive with music, but we also heard of conditions and systems that they had experienced that had led them up to that point. Through our community and through music, our young people thrived, they opened up, they were leaders, they brought more young people in to make music in our space, but they also discussed experiencing things like housing and food insecurity, educational divestment, a lack of safe spaces to just be a kid, exposure to trauma without outlets for healing, and a general feeling of isolation and that the city didn't care for them. This was back in 2015. In hearing this, we realized that any person can be considered at risk if we do not have access to community and the resources that we need to grow and thrive. In listening to our young people, we realized that the problems that led to violence were systemic and could not be combated by just one org or just by music. So we didn't. And while Philadelphia is one of the poorest big cities in the country, we are incredibly rich in community. With over 75 amazing partners and the incredible support of our city through things like CEG and all of our amazing city council, as well as our state with funding from PCCD, as well as the incredible, powerful voice of our youth, our teachers, and community partners, we were able to go out and we built 55 music labs all across the city in locations ranging from, thank you. Yeah. That's clapping for the young people. That was their idea. But these music labs, they weren't just at a school. They were, but they were also in youth shelters and trauma clinics and all those different touch points that our young people had said that they wish they had music. As well as schools, community hubs, rec centers. When you meet a Beyond the Bars student, they could be coming from an amazing school, an amazing rec center, but we wanted to make music as accessible as possible. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Music is in our DNA. It is an intrinsic way for us as human beings to both grow and heal emotionally, as well as connect communally. We use music as a medium for meeting youth wherever they're at, building up their self-expression and self-efficacy skills, and then connecting them to whatever resource they need, and providing platforms for their leadership as they grow in a community that has their back. An example of this can be seen in one of our students we'll call Kay. When we first met Kay in one of our diversion programs, he was incredibly quiet and closed off, and had clearly experienced a lot. Through music and a supportive community, we saw him begin to open up. As he built trust with our community of passionate teachers and youth leaders, he expressed needs for support such as food, mental health, employment, and shelter for a loved one. Through our ecosystem of support model with so many amazing partners, we were able to work with organizations like Share Foods, TCRC, Covenant House, CHOP, Yeah Philly, and Akia's Heart to ensure that every single one of those needs were met. As he grew in the program with our amazing partners, we saw him thrive and not just focus on himself, but begin to advocate for others and work towards supporting resource giveaways in his community. His leadership shined through, and today, after going through our student teacher program, he is now a trauma-informed music facilitator, combating gun violence by teaching younger youth how to express themselves through music and ensuring that they feel cared for. His voice, brilliance, and talent is indicative of all of the young people within BTB, who continue to build it to be what it is and have done everything to make BTB what it is today. It is also indicative of all of the youth of our city. Remembering the ways in which our youth were incarcerated and stated that they felt the city did not like them, we just recently held the second annual Philly Youth Music Fest. This event was held at the Dell with over 30 powerful community-based orgs where we worked together collaboratively with our young leaders to combat the negative narrative that surrounds our youth by having a citywide celebration of them, having a whole day dedicated to showcasing their leadership, love, talent, and brilliance. The day was full of youth and intergenerational joy as we all came together to see our young people for who they really are. Beautiful things happen in our city, but they do not happen without the amazing support of PCCD and CEG, as well as the tireless work of our teachers, and the tireless work of our partners, and the tireless work of our youth leaders. BTB began with 10 students in a jail cell who said their needs were not being met and advocated for their community. And today, because of the leadership of our youth, we build with over 1,400 students annually across the city, with over 95% of our tenured students expressing that their needs are now either being met or being worked towards being met. They also state that they feel as though they are growing as leaders with an increased feeling of connection to community that cares about them. In combating gun violence, Philadelphia and our state selected BTB amongst many other amazing community-based orgs to work interconnectedly to ensure that our youth had access to resources and programming that they need and deserve. And well, that was back in around 2021 when that happened. And that number back then, like we said, there was 562 homicides in 2021. Well, last year that rate was reduced by over half, marking it the lowest violent crime rate that we've had in over a decade. While Beyond the Bars, of course, does not claim responsibility for that, every single community-based org that, such as Amazing Turning Points is here today, but every community-based org and agency and dedicated agency that builds holistically with our young people is a huge part of it. When you listen to and build with young people, and when you invest in systems not of harm, but of compassion and community, we can do something that seems impossible and live in a more peaceful and just world that our young people deserve. Thank you so much. And at this time, I want to introduce Governor Shapiro. Thank you so much for coming to our home.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let me just start by saying a word about Matt and this really sacred space. You know, this city is beautiful and wonderful and rich because of its extraordinary history, right? Because of its great sports teams, its world-class businesses, its incredible workforce. But I think what is the glue that binds this city together is that folks give a damn about one another. People pick up after one another. We all kind of got a little bit of a chip on our shoulder in order to look out for one another and protect one another. The spirit that Matt has, I see not only evident in this extraordinary place, but all throughout this city. People looking out for their neighbors and trying to help make sure they lift others up. That is an extraordinary form of charity. It's an extraordinary statement about your big heart, and our city is stronger because of you and so many like you. So Matt, thank you very, very much. We appreciate you. Thank you. And I got to say, music has an extraordinary power to bring us together. And I want to thank the young musicians who I got the chance to spend a little bit of time with earlier. I needed a little bit of music in my life today, and I got to tell you, it was incredibly inspiring to hear you and incredibly inspiring to watch you learn and love the process of making music. And in the case of the young woman who's a teacher who I hope is going to run for governor one day, we had a good chat, to watch her teach others about music and help them find their love, it was just amazing. Look, I firmly believe that every child of God in this city, across this Commonwealth, and I'd argue across this country, has a right to both be safe and feel safe in their community. They deserve the freedom to be able to walk home after school safely, to hang out with their friends without fear, to not have to lean over and tell the governor about a loved one that perished because of gun violence in their community, but rather be free from that type of trauma. I believe every child deserves to be able to make music and play sports, and most importantly, every child deserves to dream big dreams, no matter where they live, no matter what their zip code, no matter what their neighborhood looks like. They should have that freedom to be able to dream of limitless possibilities in their community. That's the kind of work that I know every elected official up here and community leaders and business leaders and labor leaders and others are really dedicated to do that work. Delivering on that promise, on that hope, and on that opportunity, well, that has been central to my work as the 48th governor of this great Commonwealth. That work to combat gun violence and create opportunity, I want you to know that's not new to me, and it's not new to me here in the city of Philadelphia. I previously served as the Attorney General, as many of you know. There, my team fought successfully to address violence in our community. We led a national effort to close the ghost gun loophole. We arrested 330 gun traffickers. We took 3,200 crime guns off our streets across Pennsylvania, including more than half of them right here in the city of Philadelphia. And I want you to know, as governor, I have continued that work on your behalf, helping fund, together with these great lawmakers, fund new resources and training for law enforcement and adding over 800 new state troopers and helping fill nearly 700 municipal police officer slots across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But hear me on this. While law enforcement is a critical piece of this, and I'm grateful to the Philadelphia Police Department for the work they do every day as they run toward danger to keep others safe, hear me on this. Law enforcement is not the only answer to the violence issues that we grapple with in our communities. You see, what's clear to me from listening to you in the community, from my work as AG and my work as governor and collaborating with these fine leaders who are here with us today, is that we need a multi-pronged approach to dealing with gun violence, and we need it to be well funded. Yes, we have to invest in law enforcement, but we also have to invest in our neighborhoods. We have to invest in communities, and we have to invest in places like this that give our young people an outlet for their wonderful talents. As governor, I've tried to do just that. Since I took office as your governor, together with these lawmakers, we have invested $600 million in community programs just like this to look out for our children. $600 million. That money has been delivered through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. Matt referenced the money that's been received here. It is important to note that what we call PCCD is chaired by the great Lieutenant Governor of this Commonwealth, Austin Davis, my governing partner, and he's done a fantastic job. We've invested in sports programs, after-school activities, church groups, mentorship programs. We have invested in apprenticeship programs and workforce training opportunities. Each of these initiatives looks a little different, but they all have the same purpose: create opportunity and create safe spaces for children to be able to develop into the beautiful talents that they are, and making sure that they have an outlet to go to pick up a guitar instead of picking up a gun. Of that $600 million that we've invested, we have placed a special emphasis on increasing support for community-based programs. Under my administration's work, we have increased funding that goes to the community by 40% over the last 2 years. We know that safe community starts in our communities, in our neighborhoods. And that funding has gone to organizations like Beyond the Bars, helping them to expand their staff and serve young people at their 55 facilities all across this city. With their support, they've been able to give folks like Isaiah, who you're going to hear from in a moment, the opportunity to play different instruments, make a beat, and find their passion in music. One of the young women I was talking to before, the keyboard artist who had just, I think she just left to go to a different program, I said, "How long have you been doing that? You sounded amazing." 2 weeks, she said. And I said, "Well, how the heck did you learn that in 2 weeks?" She goes, I just kind of always felt like I had that talent. And she was able to come into one of these 55 places in the city and expand on her belief that she had that talent into demonstrating that real talent, giving her even more purpose and possibility in her life. She is an example of how these investments are working. We have seen in Pennsylvania, as a result of the work we've done with law enforcement, as a result of this $600 million, over $500 million we've invested in initiatives like this, we have seen a 42% decrease in fatal gun violence across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Violent crime is down 11%. But hear me on this, there's still too much violence in our communities. If you've been a victim of that violence, if you know someone who's been a victim of that violence, those statistics I shared don't matter a whole lot to you. And I want you to know that until that statistic is zero, we are going to keep working at it. I'm proud of the progress we've made, working with our city partners, working at the state level, working with community organizations, working with law enforcement. We are making a difference, and we should celebrate that, but we should never be satisfied. We have to keep working, because I've visited far too many neighborhoods that have been shattered by gun violence. I've quietly hugged and sat with too many families around a dinner table where there is now an empty seat, and there will be an empty seat for the rest of their lives. Spoken to too many Pennsylvanians who have had their lives changed by a single moment or a single bullet that killed a soul that they loved. Just this week, 5 people, including 4 children at the Christie Rec Center, were injured in a shooting. I got to tell you, that really hit me in the heart. I've been to the Christie Rec Center. My kids and I went there and we played basketball with Amon Brown, who did not go easy on me, I want you to know. He knocked me around a good bit. We went there, if you remember, after Kyrie Simmons was killed, a young person who used to play basketball at the Christie Rec Center. These rec centers should be an oasis from violence. Places like this should be free from violence. It's an example of how we have more work to do. We're going to continue to make these investments. We're going to continue to give a damn about these kids. We're going to continue to work together to address gun violence, which is a trauma that has caused too much fear and too much pain in our communities. And I need you to know I feel this not just as your governor, I feel this as a dad. I look at my 4 children in the eye, and I want for every child in Pennsylvania the opportunities that our children have had. I want every child to be able to walk down a street and not worry about violence the way my children can. And I need everybody to hear me on this. It doesn't have to be this way. We do not need to accept violence in our communities. So we're not paralyzed by it. That's why we're making investments. That's why we're trying to make a difference in people's lives. And I'm back here in Philadelphia today to reaffirm that commitment to all of you, that we're going to look out for our kids. We're going to lift up the people that are doing this important work in our community, and we're going to keep celebrating places like Beyond the Bars, who are having a transformational impact on the souls of this community, not just teaching them the skills of music, but putting them in a place where they can be safe. Hear me on this, Matt, we will never, ever be able to know how many lives you saved by having these 55 facilities open. But we know it's not zero, and we know that the impact you're having is great to keep people safe and to turn people on to music. There will be young people who come out of here who make this a profession, and they're going to do great in life. And I hope they remember us as they're doing great in life. And I hope they remember where it all started. And I hope they pay it forward to the next generation. There'll be others who leave here with a love of music but go on to pursue other things. But we can all know that we gave them a safe space to be, and we gave them an opportunity to see their 18th birthday, to see the promise of their future, to see real opportunity in their lives. That's the work we do every day. That's what real freedom is all about. And that's what makes this city so special. People lifting up others and looking out for others in our community, especially our children. As you probably know, these lawmakers and I are in the midst of working to finalize our state budget. I want you to know that I've asked lawmakers, Democrat and Republican alike, for another $10 million increase in successful violence initiatives like this one where we are today. It is important that we continue to make these investments. I think you may also know I'm one of the only governors in the country where we have a divided legislature, a Senate led by Republicans, a House led by Democrats. This is not easy work finding common ground. We're working at it. We're being diligent about it. We're being serious and purposeful about it. And I want you to know we're getting there. We're making progress. It's hard to find common ground in this polarized society today. But I need you to know, for me, coming here and seeing these young people, coming here and seeing the promise of a place like this, coming here and seeing these wonderful mentors, that's only given me more energy to make sure that we continue to deliver for this community, and we continue to deliver to reduce violence in our communities. So thank you for bringing me here today. Thank you for showing me the good work you do. And it's now my pleasure to invite up someone who's benefited from this important work, Isaiah Robinson, who's an alum here of Beyond the Bars and has now become an instructor to young people who are coming here for the first time. Isaiah, the floor is yours.
So, hi, my name is Isaiah Robinson. I joined Beyond the Bars in 2020 as a student. From the start, I was welcomed into a safe space and loving environment. Surrounded by mentors and peers who shared similar interests, Beyond the Bars quickly became a second family to me. As time went on, I had the opportunity to help bring a music program to my high school, Belmont Charter. I became a student teacher and later an adult teacher, right? As an adult teacher, I've been able to teach in trauma clinics, diversion programs, homeless shelters. Across the board, I've seen so many amazing and talented youth throughout the city, which motivated me to do even more, connecting those youth and others to additional resources. This year, I had the privilege of leading the social-emotional learning class for our student-teacher program. It brings me a great joy to see students from Belmont Charter participating and growing within the program. Because of these experiences, I've been inspired to pursue a career in social work. I want to do more.
It's cool.
Yeah. I want to do more, give more, and help build the kind of future I was fortunate enough to find. One where mentorship, education, and creativity have the power to change lives. We have Evangelina Manos coming up next.
Thank you. Good job, Isaiah.
Thank you so much, Governor Shapiro, for being here today with us. To Matt, Care, and Isaiah, that was amazing. And thank you for all of the work that you're doing on behalf of our young people in this city. On behalf of the mayor, I'm the first deputy for the Office of Public Safety, and for Chief Public Safety Director Adam Geer, I want to thank you for coming to Philadelphia today to highlight one of the outstanding organizations making a difference in our city. But we already know that Beyond the Bars is outstanding because we too as a city have been working with them through our Anti-Violence Community Partnership Grant Program. They are a recipient of our community expansion grants since 2021. Designed to restore dignity, opportunity, and safety to neighborhoods most impacted by gun violence, much like PCCD. And in the past 5 years, their grant awards have steadily grown in size because of their outstanding programming, going from $13,000 in the first year to now $250,000 this year. Wow. And I do have to give a shout out to our amazing anti-violence grant team who's here with us today. They do amazing work. By intentionally investing in small grassroots organizations with starter grants, we're providing wraparound services and support and technical assistance, and then managing their applications for next tier level grants as their capacity grows. The city is just not writing checks. We are helping to build the internal infrastructure of our local leaders. We are working to set them up for success so they in turn can pursue additional resources of funding from state sources like PCCD and private philanthropy. Helping organizations like Beyond the Bars grow and thrive is the ultimate goal, because they are the boots on the ground and they're the ones that are doing the work. They are the ones that need to lead the way, because we know government cannot do it alone. As the mayor says, we are all one city, one Philly, and we are here to have your back and support your work. And having our governor here and our other officials, our city and state local officials, representing the Commonwealth support and the city support in our efforts to reduce violence, confirms for me that we are on the right path to making a difference. Thank you again, Governor, for coming to see us here in Philadelphia and for taking the time to highlight this amazing program that does this incredible work. I'd like to introduce Representative Eamon Brown.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is a magnificent way to start off my birthday. I didn't expect this.
Happy birthday, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Playing a happy birthday song. There you go.
Wow.
Happy birthday to you. There you go.
Thank you. Did that really just happen? It did. Only in special places like this. But as I was walking around, I got here early because I wanted to just, do a walkthrough. The energy that you guys have created in this space is unmatched. I automatically thought about many years ago, now that I'm 38, the Beacon programs. I came up in the Beacon programs 22 years ago, and I worked there with the young people. And we created safe spaces and we protected children. And I see that here. And I'm thankful, I'm grateful that you guys exist. I'm thankful for our leadership with our governor and his commitment to investing into programs like yours. So big shout out to you and your entire team and the young people that stick with us, come up through the program and give back. Now we fast forward to what's going on in today's society. And we need to stand together more than ever to protect our young people, no matter what you believe in, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And I stand here committed to go back to Harrisburg to get these increases done by your side and right along with my colleagues. So thank you all for being here today, and thank you to you, Matt, and your entire team. It just feels so great to be here. And trust me, I will be back, and I'll be spending some more time. And thank you for the wonderful birthday song. Thank you. Peace. Bring up the governor.
Happy birthday. I'll take a few questions from the media. Before I do, I do just want to note, we are in Representative Brown's district, and I appreciate him sharing a few words. Do not lose sight of the fact that Representative Burgos is here, Representative Hohenstein is here, Representative Cephas was here a moment ago. Each one of them is the deciding vote on all of this funding. Each one of them has made sure that the funding that is passed has these kids in mind. So even though we may not be technically in their districts, they fight every day as a delegation together under Representative Cephas's leadership and together in the House Democratic Caucus to make sure that these things get done. And so I don't want it to be lost on the fact that I know you're outside your district, but you guys are just as much an important part of this work. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks very much. So with that, I'm happy to take a few questions. Why don't we start on this issue, and then we'll see if there's anything else. Yep.
Good morning, Governor. As you know, I'm Cherie Darton, this is USA Media, and it's very important, and I know that we all know this, over the past 5 years, the community partnership with dealing with violence has actually become a pattern for the city, and I think it's a model for other cities too. And with the struggles that we have today, federal, state, local funding, period, what are we trying to do to make sure that programs like this and others can continue to get the funding that has been given to them over the past 5 years, period?
Exactly what we are all working on together in Harrisburg right now. Exactly what Mayor Parker and the councilwoman, I think Councilwoman stepped out, councilwoman are doing with the city budget is to make sure that when those dollars are divvied up, that we've got our kids in mind, whether it's funding the work in their classrooms or funding the work in a place like this where they come after school or where they come during the summer. It's a priority for every single person who's standing up here, and we're going to continue to fight to make sure these children get what they deserve, to give them freedom, to give them opportunity in life. Anything else? Okay. Imagine we got stuff on other topics. Go ahead, Lauren.
On the budget, you said you're making progress.
Yeah.
Do you have an agreement on transit? Do you have an agreement on transit?
So I'm not going to get into negotiating the specifics of it here in this setting. I can tell you that the leaders who are around the table, myself, Leader Bradford on behalf of the House Democratic Caucus, Leader Pittman on behalf of the Republican caucus in the Senate, we all understand the issues that need to be resolved in order to reach a final agreement. I think we're working together respectfully to get that done. I will tell you, I know it is frustrating. I introduced my budget about 175 days ago. We knew what the issues were then. We still know what they are now. But I also acknowledge that we're, working at a time where we not only have a divided legislature, we've got a lot of division in our society. And finding that common ground, that's critically important. It's taken longer than I would like, but I think we're going to get there, and we understand the important issues that need to be resolved.
Given that, have you moved on anything since you introduced that budget?
I'm not going to negotiate the budget here in this setting. I think we all have enough respect for one another to keep our conversations in that room and to try and make sure that we all win for the people of Pennsylvania and we're able to deliver the things that everyone needs to deliver for their communities. The one thing I can tell you we've all agreed on with absolute certainty is that we all have to compromise, and that's what we're doing right now.
Governor, the Trump administration moving forward with its review.
Sorry, Pat, I was going to call on you, but go ahead.
The administration's moving forward with its review of some of the exhibits at Independence Hall, specifically those depicting slavery, discussing slavery. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I shared some thoughts on this the other day. I mean, look, I think protecting our history is about telling the truth, is about acknowledging what really happened. This is the birthplace of the whole thing, right here in the city of Philadelphia, nearly 250 years ago. And I think it's important that we know our history, and I think it's important that we know all aspects of our history. If we don't reckon with the reality of our past, then I don't think we can learn from it and move forward together. So, I think the fight that we have for freedom continues to this day, and the way that we perfect our union, the way we expand freedom, is by understanding our history so we know the future and we know the destination that we are trying to get to. I think the president's seeming attempts to try and rewrite our history goes against the very values that this nation stands for. I have grown increasingly concerned by the way in which President Trump and Vice President Vance speak about certain people in this country. Go look at what Vice President Vance said at Claremont University about a week or so ago. He believes in a tiered system in America, that certain people would count more than others based on what they look like or how long they've been here. We're a nation of immigrants here. We are a nation that has been warm and welcoming to all people who come here and pledge allegiance to this flag, pledge allegiance to this common purpose. I do not believe that trying to erase our shared history or try and put Americans into certain buckets or tier Americans based on who J.D. Vance or Donald Trump thinks count more or is more important than others, I don't believe that that's the American way. I think there is a battle for the soul of this nation going on right now. I think there is a battle for making sure that here in America, we still respect everyone no matter what they look like, where they come from, who they love, or who they pray to. And I think it is important that as we engage in that battle, we don't whitewash our history the way the Trump administration seemingly wants to. The city of Philadelphia, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, has been central to the history of this nation, and we're going to protect that.
Have you made any progress on transit funding? Can you offer any hope to Philadelphians who are?
I understand how critically important transit funding is. I've proposed it twice in my budget. I flexed funding from road projects last year to give lawmakers more time to come to an agreement. I know how vital mass transit is to the economy of this entire Commonwealth and how vital SEPTA is for the vitality of these communities. I know that the House Democrats understand that as well. They've passed funding for mass transit, not just SEPTA, but mass transit across the state. I believe it's been 4 times now.
4 times.
And I think we all understand just how critically important it is, and we're going to keep working at that issue. Cole? No, it's what I said to Lauren before. I'm not going to negotiate the budget here through the media, and I'm not going to get into our private discussions. I'm telling you how important I view this issue, and I'm also telling you that the House Democrats view it as important. They passed it 4 different times. Cole?
Governor, a few weeks ago, a King's Bench petition
Can you
was...
just speak up? The fan makes it hard to hear.
Apologize. Governor, a few weeks ago, a King's Bench petition was filed in the state Supreme Court. Essentially, they want to rule that the primary system in the state is unconstitutional in their opinion due to the fact that independent and unaffiliated voters cannot vote in the primaries. So I guess generally speaking, I don't know if you've seen that particular petition, but I guess your thoughts on that lawsuit, and also do you think independent and unaffiliated voters should be able to vote in Pennsylvania's primary system?
I haven't had a chance to take a look at that filing. I will look at it. I'm happy to get back to you with a response on it. And yeah, I know the lawmakers have been thinking about that issue from a legislative perspective for some time, and I'll wait to kind of hear more from them to see if there's a consensus building there. But I'll get back to you on the suit. I haven't had a chance to see it.
But beyond the lawsuit, though, what do you think, generally speaking, about open primaries? Again, do you think ultimately you're in favor of keeping the system the way it is right now?
I'll have to take a look at it, and I think I'll speak through whatever filings my office chooses to submit on that case.
I have one more thing on the budget, and I do have a question on something else as well. And this is not about negotiations, but there is another deadline coming, which is SEPTA is planning to make changes on August 24th. They're cutting bus routes. People are being informed of it. They're seeing the signs up there. I talked to somebody the other day who said he's planning to get a car, and he knows August 24th is his deadline to get this done. What do you say to folks who rely on SEPTA? Should they prepare for those cuts to go into effect?
If that person lives in Northeast Philadelphia, call Senator Picozzi, who's a Republican in the state Senate, and tell him to go back to Harrisburg and vote to pass transit funding the way the House Democrats did. What I would say to every Philadelphian, every Pennsylvanian, is that I understand the importance of mass transit. I understand the need to get that done. The House lawmakers who are here have already voted 4 times to do that, and we're going to continue to work at it to make sure that we fund mass transit across Pennsylvania.
Do you support Senator Picozzi's proposal regarding accountability?
I want to make sure that we fund mass transit, and we will have a broader dialogue of other legislation that may or may not accompany that. I'm not going to get into that here in this setting.
I have one more thing that's not related to this. I interviewed the Attorney General. This week.
Can I just ask you to speak up?
I interviewed the Attorney General, Pennsylvania's Attorney General this week. I'm not sure whether you've seen it, but I asked him about the lawsuits that you filed against the Trump administration, and he responded. He spoke generally about lawsuits that have been filed by attorneys general across the country, saying that those can be very performative. Do you think there is a performative aspect of the lawsuits we filed against
I haven't seen your interview with the AG. Here's what I'll tell you. The Commonwealth Attorneys Act in Pennsylvania gives the power to the governor, if he so chooses, to bring a legal action on behalf of the Commonwealth. I have brought 8 legal actions on behalf of the good people of Pennsylvania, and I've been able to bring back almost $3 billion that Donald Trump illegally took away from our Commonwealth. We've returned that money to our school children, to our farmers, to our communities that had been hurt because of a decision the Trump administration made to take funding away from Pennsylvania. Go look at my record in this space. I file the lawsuits, I win, the good people of Pennsylvania get their money back. If anyone is going to mess with a Pennsylvanian, including the President of the United States, they're going to have to go through me. And I got a pretty damn good track record of delivering for the good people of Pennsylvania. Thank you. it kind of easy to pick up?
I'll start. I've never seen spring.
Yeah. This is more, right?
This is an FX. This is how you like distortion. Basic.
I actually like it. I say mess with the effects of it. Mess with how you want it to like. It's more so of an effect, like effect. There's like a preset. So I want you to go into the input.
You do need that.
Not input. Go to the
That's at 72. Now if I turn it to 100,